All right. South Africa ranks at number 56 out of 83 countries. That's in terms of the attractiveness of the mining policies. That's not encouraging, given the ills, though, that have plagued this industry for many years. Mining Minister and ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe is in studio to discuss this and other issues of national importance. Mr. Mantashe, thank you very much for making the time.
Morning, Paul.
Firstly, as leader of the governing party, I would like to get your thoughts on the scourge of gender-based violence. What needs to be done to put a stop to this?
Femicide has been an issue on the agenda of the ANC. We have condemned it. We have done many things. We're quite happy about the fact that law enforcement institutions are beginning to take it serious, and that's the route to take. People must be arrested, prosecuted, and serve sentences if need be.
But Mr. Mantashe, someone out there is asking themselves, where is the commitment of the governing party in the protection of women when the party comes out as late as last week to say you don't have a sexual harassment policy in place at the headquarters of the governing party? What does that inspire confidence? How do people take you seriously?
You know, God, the things you see that you should ask people who run the head office. I'm not running the head office now.
But you're a leader.
Yes, I would have given you a gender policy and a sexual harassment policy if I was running the head office. But let's leave that. But the most important thing, Paul, is that gender-based violence, we must first see it as a behavioral issue. It starts at home. You say, I grew up in a family where I never saw my father assaulting my mother. And they instilled a particular behavior to all of us. I will relate to you certain stories that will tell us what it means to assault a woman. And as a result of that, in the family, we start there. We detest assaulting women. Women are not assaulted because you have a natural way of assaulting a woman. Once you begin to beat a woman up physically, the first suspicion from me is that there's something failing in you. And my own view is that we must start it from the family, then it goes to society. Society will not behave differently if we are not enforcing things at family level.
What do you mean, Chairperson, when you say there's a natural way of assaulting a woman?
It's because you can engage with a woman in a particular way without hurting her. It's my angle used to ask us, if you beat her and then she has a sullen eye, whose wife will she be for that duration? And as a result of that, we were made to understand that you don't assault a woman, don't beat up a woman. A woman must be loved. That is how you beat a woman. You love her.
Well, there are many issues that I would have wanted to tackle you on in regard to this issue of gender-based violence and whether or not the governing party is...
The reality is that the governing party is like society. It's a microcosm of society. It has all sorts of people in it. And therefore, things will happen in the governing party because it's a macrocosm of society. But the reality of the matter is that as a society, we must deal with that issue right from the family unit, which is the smallest organ of society.
It's a microcosm of society, but also the governing party, you point yourselves as leaders of society, and people learn from you as leaders. The behavior of some of your leaders has not been exemplary.
Once they behave that way, you must trace them back. Don't tell them. I always told people when I was Secretary General that the ANC will never replace the role of a parent. I told them that the parent must play the role. You go to the ANC at age 18. At that time, your social behavior has been structured and molded. The ANC can tamper with this and that. It will have policies. It will talk to a minister, begging, tighten up, this area is dangerous, arrest them. That's all the ANC can do.
Mr. Mantashe, we have a very short time and a lot to get through, so I'm going to ask you to be very brief in your answers. I'm sorry to do this to you. So let's talk about mining.
South Africa. That's what I expected to talk about.
So South Africa is now ranked at number 56 out of 83 countries that were surveyed. What does this mean, though, in terms of policy certainty, but also, importantly, investor confidence in the mining industry of our country?
You see, Paul, to answer that question, you must look at where we were at this time last year. At this time last year, Fraser Institute ranked us 81 out of 91 countries, okay? Rated 81 out of 91.
It's a 25-point improvement if you look at...
It's 25 points, yes. Now we're at 56. Because of the work that is being done in the sector, not by the government, by the industry, by the unions and communities. The engagement of all the stakeholders in the industry made us to produce a charter that is workable. Somebody will have something he's not happy about, another one with that, but all of us agree that this charter is workable, and therefore we gazetted it, there's no dispute, and therefore it brought certainty. We said, let's move on. That's what can improve us. If we move with the necessary speed and promulgate a legislation that will cover the petroleum sector, establish it, develop it into a fully fledged sector, if we can do that, I can tell you that will improve from 56. Because what is important is that policies must create an environment for investors to come and want to invest. On investor attractiveness, we've improved five spots. We moved from 58 from 48 to 43. It looks smaller. It's the most important one because it means investors are beginning to come back.
Safety, though,
yes,
is a major concern.
Yes.
Question is, who are the culprits, and will you support their prosecution for endangering the lives of their employees?
Let me explain this because it made a big story that was actually distorting everything I said. The law allows us to prosecute anybody who is found negligent through investigation. That's why every accident gets investigated. And if you are negligent, you get prosecuted. I can give you an example. In the disaster in Kloof, a young chap who was an acting shift boss took a crew into a closed working place without testing level of methane, any flammable gases put there, and they all burned there and died. Now, in that case, that shift boss, if he didn't die, I can tell you that he would have been prosecuted because it was an irresponsible act to take people into a closed area and work. Number two, if the investigation points to a general manager, that general manager will be prosecuted. What I objected to, let me tell you, even before you ask, was a proposal that says, once there's a death in a mine, go and route out a CEO, put him in prison. And I said, that would be chaotic. There is no country
but the buck stops with him.
No. The buck doesn't stop with him with safety. Safety is everybody's responsibility. That's why mine workers are good with solidarity. It's because for your safety to depend on the next person. It's our responsibility. Safety is our responsibility.
You know what you're sounding like right now, Mr.
No.
To a mine worker. To a mine worker, as a former mine worker yourself and as a welfare officer, a former welfare officer,
yes,
you are not sounding like you care much about the safety of workers.
Can I tell you,
job creation
cannot
come at the cost of human life.
Can I tell you, Koli, if I want to be popular, I will say, right, round up all the CEOs, they will all be in prison. There are 81 deaths in the last year, 81 CEOs would be in prison by now. Then I want popularity. I'm saying any sector that is run as if it's a cowboy camp will be a disaster, okay? It will be a disaster. That's why there is a system of investigating every accident. Out of that report, we take action.
Let's move you along and talk about illegal mining. That's another headache for your department. What are you doing about it? The latest incident, Gloria Coal Mine.
Now, you ask me, what am I doing? Illegal mining is not a mining activity, Paul. It's a criminal activity.
What are you doing about it?
Yeah, no, wait. Let's start from there. And once it becomes a criminal activity, it's not a sectoral matter. That's why a discussion we're having with the Minister of Police is that there should be a specialized unit in the police services that deal with illicit dealing of precious metals.
Is that being set up?
We're discussing that. And I'm sure it will be set up. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be soft-pedaling in dealing with illegal mining. Last year, precious metals that went out of the country were valued at 41 billion rand. 41 billion rand. That is theft. And if we were soft-pedaling in dealing with it, we're going to cause a lot of mistakes. Illegal mining is a criminal activity. It must be dealt as such.
Let's move to the issue of Xolobeni.
Yes.
That issue very much in the news. How far has your department gone in commissioning this independent survey that you announced in January on whether or not to grant mining rights in Xolobeni?
You see, we're doing a number of things in Xolobeni, because Xolobeni is not just about mining, okay? Xolobeni is about development. It's the poorest ward in Bizana, okay? It's the poorest ward in Bizana. It's about development. I had a discussion with few of other ministers. I said, let's all go there. Because if you want to change Xolobeni, we must have an overall developmental strategy. You must take your tourism minister, you must take agriculture, you must take transport, you take mining there. And then we say, if we develop this country in a balanced way, this area is a potential next town on the coast. And that is my attitude. And my own view is that let's deal with that. Then the survey. The survey is about one thing. It's about assessing the support and no support for the mining.
When is that getting underway?
Now, wait. Let me explain it to you. Don't be over-eager. You know, because of the Xolobeni issue is much issue, I had a meeting with the Archbishop of Cape Town, Bishop Makgoba. And I explained to him all the processes that we're busy with there. He said the right way to do it, he's giving me an advice and I listen. He said, we must engage that society, make them understand the issues, and then do the survey. And they say the church will participate in that. I welcome that.
Mr. Mantashe.
Yes.
The High Court in Pretoria ruled that the community has a right to say no.
No, I didn't rule that.
You correct me then.
The High Court said, before we grant a mining license, we must get full consent of the community. Okay, that's different.
So far, what have you gotten? Because you've had 3 meetings in that place.
My God. You see, the reason that I propose a survey is because if we were testing that meeting in terms of the meetings, we would have gone ahead with mining. Because the majority of people in all those meetings said, bring that mining here. There was a very strong, very vocal, smaller group which was saying we don't want mining. Now, you don't count that because of the noises in the meeting. You must do a scientific survey, test the views of the people, say 80% or 85% says no, and therefore we can't go ahead with mining, or say 80% or 85% say yes, we can go ahead with mining.
How transparent will this survey be? Because the impression right now that everybody has is that the mining minister is pushing through this deal because of some vested interest. Your relations with some chief, local chief there, that's an issue. Are you intent on pushing this through?
Good. The problem with South Africans is that they develop a narrative, put it in the public, and repeat it, and it becomes the truth. Xolobeni has been on the table since 2002. Okay? Since 2002, Xolobeni has been on the table. My approach is very simple. You cannot allow one case to be on the table for 20 years. let's take it to the finality. If we take it to that, there will be no mining in Xolobeni, let's take that decision. If we say there must be mining, let's take that decision. That's my resolve. But you cannot allow an issue that has been on the table for 16 years to continue for another 4 or 5 years.
Will you
it's irresponsible.
Will you respect that community's decision if it
yes,
says no,
I will.
no to mining?
Yes, I will. I will.
What will you do, Minister?
I will say there must be no mining. I grant licenses to mine at Xoli. I will not grant a license to mine if there is no agreement. And that applies to Xolobeni and it applies to other areas.
Mr. Mantashe, the last issue I'd like to explore with you is around Bosasa.
Yes.
Papa Xolobeni is a director of Bosasa whose name has come up repeatedly at the State Capture Commission. Here's a simple question for you. What kind of relationship does he have with you and your family?
Papa Xolobeni has no relationship with me as a person. He relates to the younger generation in the family. The way I came into contact with Papa Xolobeni was in a wedding of my daughter. And Papa Xolobeni was part of the delegation on the other side. And from there, they related at that level as a group of young people.
And so close is this relationship with your children, if I could put it that way, that he felt it necessary, Mr. Mantashe, to take 300,000 rand out of his own pocket to purchase CCTV cameras for your 3 properties.
Can I tell you, Xoli, the disservice you did to ENCA is that when I took journalists to those properties, since ENCA was not there, because the reason that I wanted to take journalists to those properties was to say, here are my properties, 300,000 for what is in here that you see. Can it be? And you didn't do that. Now, what you are going to do is to speculate on what one person said.
No, Mr. I'm not going to do that. Do you know why I'm not going to do that?
No, let me tell you.
Because I've gone and read up your responses from fellow reporters who did go there.
No.
It was at the weekend. Yes, we were not there. But can I tell you that the fencing that you've always spoken about, yes, it wasn't there. But the cameras, you have admitted that they are Bosasa installed cameras.
Yes. The point I'm making is that you don't make it 300,000 because they are Bosasa. Okay. You look at the property.
How much was spent?
No, wait, God. You see, the problem you will have, Xoli, is that there is a Zondo Commission, which I'm going to. I have submitted my response to the Zondo Commission. You are going to run a parallel Zondo Commission, a Xoli Ngambi Commission. By the time we go to the Zondo Commission, it will serve no purpose. But the point I'm making is that the reason that I took journalists there was to say to them, in your own experience, where is the 300,000? Okay. See, many of them, let me tell you, the most aggressive one was from the News 24, said to me, at best, this will be 50,000 rand. And we left it there.
Final question on this matter, Mr. Mantashe. The company involved here, Bosasa, it's been exposed for corrupt practices.
Yes.
Honest people, honest citizens of this country who worked for that company today do not have jobs or stand to lose their jobs.
Yes.
Will not be able to feed their families. The question I want to ask of you, either it's you or your family members, your children, is the relationship between themselves and yourself and Papa Xolobeni a relationship you wish to continue to maintain?
No. You see, there's something we distort in South Africa. I always say to people, we're Americanizing our politics. Because there's an issue in Bosasa. Xoli works in Bosasa. Therefore, we say Xoli is Bosasa. Xoli Ngambi comes from a village. He is a human being there and part of that community. And he will relate to people there. This thing of thinking that because there is an issue about a company who I work for, therefore I must be ostracized from society, is not the issue. The issue is the commission investigating state capture, and what I'm going to that commission to do is to prove that in my case, I won't talk for others.
Papale Shabane has been said to be a courier of bribes.
Wait.
Bribing fellow ANC.
No. He can have bribed anybody else. I was not bribed by Papale Shabane, I can assure you of that. We're doing that project ourselves. Shabane joined in a project that we're conducting ourselves, led by Mzonge Nyagaza, was head of my security, and that's it. And there was no bribe because there was no project that was promised or in the pipeline. It had nothing to do with that. Therefore, what I'm going to the committee to do is to say there is no corrupt relationship that will pick up between me and Bosasa. I had no dealings with Bosasa. That's why Agrizi gave evidence for 9 days. He never mentioned my name once because it was not a Bosasa. Go to the statement of that chap who gave evidence. All the projects that they did, they gave them code names. You know that. You know mine has no code name. It's a Mantashe project because it was my project.
Mr. Mantashe?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the mining minister and national chairperson of the African National Congress, Gwede Mantashe. I'll be back.